Hey Leo, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading, general readings. Take what works, leave what doesn't. Check your other major placements if you want. And today we're going to be doing oracle cards over here on YouTube. And then on the Vimeo side of things, we'll be doing a more traditional tarot spread that continues on with this story. So if this story resonates with me, you're welcome to join me over on Vimeo. So Leo, let's see what these oracle cards have for you. Okay. That's funny. Oh my gosh. Okay, these oracle cards have a lot to say to you today. Huh. All right. I don't know where to start, actually. I feel very... My home is my castle. You have something back here in your mind, some sort of dream that you've built, and you are willing and eager to share a piece of it, sharing a piece of your mind. But this is like either bringing something into reality or wanting to communicate some part of how you feel and how you think and what's going on, and this sort of your inner world and your inner universe. You've been hard at work at something and you're ready for an experimental, exploratory expression from this. So this could either be, you know, I have this image of model trains. So you may have like built a whole model train town and track in your mind, and this is you just like, okay, well, I wonder if I can build the first piece of this, or I wonder if I can bring this one piece out into reality, or sort of expressing something. But there's a whole lot more. There's a huge amount. And so this is just a little bit of a test run. I'm ready. You're ready to bring something out here. You're ready to share something. There's a lot about being in the present moment here. This is, apparently I'm doing this, I don't know, backward. It's interesting how it's coming out for me. We have bloom. We have this connection, this interconnectedness. We have maybe some psychic information, or and you really want to be checking that, like intuitive information, trust but verify, right? So we don't like go hauling off on a whole like tangent or a whole thing just on a hunch or an idea that was actually based in fear rather than actual knowing. But this is some sort of connection, some sort of opening up of the mind in order to connect to others. This always reminds me of sort of a phone system, our interconnectedness with each other. When I'm doing personal stories and tuning into my connections, this is what I almost always see as this like vascular system of tuning into the energy grid and connecting with others. So, but there is a sense of growth from this. There is a sense of growth from listening, from connecting, from sensing, from intuiting, a sense of something emerging. Again, we have something emerging into the world. Again, we have something from, there's this much larger picture, there's this much larger background, and we're growing and bringing something into reality that's just a moment. It's like a wave cresting from the ocean. It's something much larger coalescing into a moment, into a smaller, more digestible, more less frightening. So there's a sense of this much larger picture, and we're just sort of encapsulating it, a little piece of it, to bring it out so it's a little more manageable. And this is the same with this whole ocean of interconnectedness. Just one part gets to bloom into from the ocean into the wave, into the thing, into reality. So we also have Night Ride. So this has some sort of mutual support system or even spiritual support system. This is, it's foggy, it's murky. Nobody is really getting a clear vision of where everything's going, which is interesting because it's like there's this clear vision back here, behind you, right? In the mind, and maybe even surrounding your mind. This is like a corona or something of like a vision, but there's only one piece of it that's coming forward right now. The rest almost seems to be in sort of some darkness and sort of some confusion. So in this sort of much larger situation that I think it's like murky back here, and then something comes into clarity and something is clear. Like this all has like this sense of like clarity, organized rooms and stuff like that. But with this card coming in, I'm seeing that it's just actually much more of a kind of a vibe back here. And then we're just, so the vibe's pretty murky, and like the situation, the reality is pretty murky. I think one part of it kind of comes out and is clear to us and clear to everyone involved. There's also a sense of mutual support here. Like this owl can see, but they're very busy having to protect this. They're not going to be able to just fly through. And also, I don't think owls can see through fog. They can see in the dark, but not fog. So the whole situation has everybody moving very slowly, moving very step by step. There is mutual support like that, and the elephant has his skills, his strengths. The owl and the elephant both have their strengths and their skills, but right now, because of the situation, they're both sort of hobbled. So they're both sort of not able to really fully embody their whole self. Like elephants have exactly 0 night vision. It's kind of weird. Because they still have to exist in the wild at night. So why they have 0 night vision. So this elephant literally can't see where it's going. This owl may be able to see where they're going, but because of other responsibilities and other commitments, they're not able to do that. So we have sort of this team working together, each one fully capable in a different circumstance, but in this circumstance, they're not. So there is a sense of this sort of foggy, not having a clear vision, but sort of more having a feeling for something. But nobody here is able to really like take the ball and run with it because of just external situations, and also just the general lack of clarity. Like there's one part that we know, and maybe that part is that we have to stick together, or maybe that part is like that. There's one part in this that's clear, that we can share, that we can know, that we can understand, and the rest is sort of in this sort of fog, or in this sort of amorphous lack of clarity. But it seems like there's just one thing that's very clear here, and the rest of the vision, the rest of the idea isn't very clear. So we're communicating the one thing we can communicate, where the one thing we do know, the one place of clarity and understanding in this whole sort of foggy situation. We also have no rain today. So this is, right, we have this whole foggy situation, and then we have this moment of clarity, and we're sticking with that moment of clarity. When we're in that clarity, when we're in, when things are well, the moments where things are clear, the moments where communication is clear, we're staying with that. So this is the be here now, being in the moment. Yes, okay, we've got clouds and fogs all around us. We have this unclear vision. We have this, but we have this moment here in this sort of lack of clarity. We have this moment where everything's okay, and this is stay in that moment. Where are you? You're right here. What time is it? It's right now. This is all Ram Dass's teachings. So no rain today. So don't worry about the whole foggy situation. It feels like there's this moment that comes out of that that's just very clear, and to stay in that moment as long as the moment lasts. Do not bring out the past. Do not bring up the future. Do not worry about anything other than where you're at right now. So this is really interesting to have this one in the middle of all of this. This is redirection. It says it's redirection. And so something seemed like it was coming together. Again, we have this one moment, this one thing to cling on to as everything sort of blows apart and comes apart. There's like something that's just not working out. It looked like it was going to work out. There's not a lot of clarity on what's going to happen, but you can see, and maybe you're the only one that can see here, that this isn't working out, that the situation isn't working out. So you grab onto something, and this is the real thing, right? I was talking about this sort of wave or this ocean, and there's one wave that pops out. This is your wave. This is the wave that you ride. This is the one moment of clarity, and you're going to ride that clarity for as long as that clarity exists, right? There's this wave that emerges. There's this seed that emerges from this larger whole, and you're going to grab onto that and stick with that through as this all becomes less and less of a thing, as this all sort of dissolves into some sort of fog. There is something real here. It's not what you thought. It's not the original plan, but you're understanding something real. There's one thing that you have in your hand that is real. This whole imaginary world doesn't actually work. So if we were to go back and take the like the story's emerging as I look through these cards. So if we were to go back and take that sort of train, this model train metaphor here, we start on something and we realize that this whole vision, this whole idea is all like, now it's foggy, it's not clear anymore, it's not going to work. We don't have, once we realize it, we don't have what we need to do this whole thing. And this is what this is talking about too. We don't have, neither of these entities here has what they need for this whole journey, right? It's just cloudy, it's dark, it's confusing. This sort of dream is busting apart, but there is one aspect of it that's real, one aspect of it that we can bring into reality. It's like you're realizing like you don't have the space for your model train situation. You don't have the time for the model train situation. You don't have, it's just not going to work for you to have this whole thing that you built up in your mind. It's not viable. It's not going to work, except there's one thing out of it that is going to work. And that seems to be the overall message here, is that there's this larger idea, but there's only one part of it that you need to move forward, because the whole thing sort of dissolves. And you just don't have all of what you need. You may be able to partner with someone, but there is this sense of there's something much larger. There's a larger dream that's just not going to work out, and you're starting to see that now. But there is one aspect of that dream that you can take forward into reality. I feel called for this deck. It called to me, and then I was like, oh, I don't want whatever message is coming out of here. Release. Yeah, this is, I'm glad though. Okay. Yeah, you're releasing this dream. There's this whole dream here, and it's time to move on from it. Take what you got from it. You did get something very tangible out of this, something very real world out of this. You did get that. It did cause you to grow, but you're starting to understand something, you're starting to see something, and it's just, you need to let go of some sort of larger plan, releasing that, letting it rest, letting it, live out its natural lifespan. And there's something that gets left behind back there. But it's time to move up, move on, and let go of the rest of the plan. Because it's like, let go of the whole toy train village. I mean, maybe what you get out of it is like an afternoon of joy and delight. Maybe what you get out of it is like one cute little building that you made that can now become a Christmas decoration or something like that. Like, you get something out of it and something real that you can carry forward. But it's time to let go of the whole sort of vision and dream. Releasing that. The larger vision and dream. Okay, so you're not going to have a whole... It's like you find out you don't have like the electrical in your house to support the whole train thing. And you're just going to have to let go of it. There's a lot here that's not clear, though. You do have support. But it's like nobody's fully capable of pulling this off anyway. Like nobody here is fully capable of it. So release 2 is also talking about like these expectations from the past. Maybe the dream that you had in the past isn't going to work anymore. Letting that dream go, and not necessarily dwelling on it, dwelling on the failures, dwelling on, you know, what you weren't able to do solo. Not necessarily dwelling with that, but realizing that this is where you're at now. This is where you're at now. And it's okay to let a dream, to let go of something. So we also have Warrior Woman. Have you answered your deepest calling? Huh. Is it asking you to be more specific about what you want? Because that's what I'm getting a lot of. Is there something can be more specific, smaller, clearer, right? And it's not that dream smaller. It's that this is the viable dream and this is an illusion that was actually maybe even a little bit dangerous. But this is something that has reality to it. And you have it in your hand, right? She has a sword in her hand. And I don't, like, to me, have you answered your deepest calling would create like a lot of anxiety and stress, because it's like, okay, that's a call. I do feel called to do that, but is that my deepest one? Like, I would definitely be overthinking this. So, but what I'm seeing here is there's something in your hand that's calling to you. There's something in your hand that is coming out of sort of the amorphous subconscious, the unclear subconscious, or the unclear, you know, clutter of dreams here. There's one thing that you need to focus on. And that's what I'm getting out of this. Like, have you answered your deepest calling? There's one thing that's very clear, and sticking with that, staying with the thing that's clear, that clarity, and not necessarily being absorbed by this fog, but staying with the one thing that's clear, the one thing that you do have, the one thing that is the most important thing to you, or among the most important thing. Like, you don't, not much of a ranker. I find ranking favorites, favorite songs, don't ever ask me about my favorite anything is. I hate those questions. My favorite, I don't know, changes from moment to moment. But there's one thing that's very clear to you here, and that's where you need to be focusing your energy. And letting the rest go. Letting what's not clear to you go. Or what's not as important to you go. Yeah, just out of this big dream, there emerges one smaller, more manageable, clearer, and frankly more viable idea. And the rest needs to be let go of. So that's the message for you, Leo. If you want to continue that message over on Vimeo, let's do that. If not, see you later. Happy holidays.